tissue cleansing, what is it? What does it mean? People often wonder, what does this mean, tissue cleansing? What it means is we're removing the accumulated waste matter and the pathogens that are embedded in them and growing in them. We're removing that from the tissues. Cells combine to make tissues, and so we're removing the rubbish from the cells and the tissues. So you can call it cellular cleansing, you can call it tissue cleansing, deep cellular cleansing, deep tissue cleansing. There's, as long as one understands that what we're aiming to do is take out which is not meant to be there in order for the life force to conduct and pulse through the cells and tissues, so that one feels optimally energetic and optimally energized and hugely vital. So when there's rubbish and accumulation in the cells and tissues, we have symptoms, all manner of symptoms. And when we remove the rubbish from the cells and tissues, the symptoms go away. So by tissue cleansing and through tissue cleansing, we remove those uncomfortable, agonizing, life-defeating symptoms, whether they're little niggling symptoms or they're huge, destructive symptoms that are huge symptoms that are indicating that the body's really falling into ruin. We're getting rid of the cause, the original cause behind those symptoms, which brings up a very important point. With allopathic medicine, the goal is always to remove the symptom. We're aiming to remove the cause of the symptoms, and this is the cause of all the symptoms. And when we do that, we just we solve the whole problem. And it seems people say, well, that sounds so easy. It is so easy, and that's the message I really want to get across. Is it's so easy to fix the body. It's so easy to get rid of the symptoms. It's so easy to overcome all of it. But if you address the symptoms without addressing the cause, you'll never get there. You'll just wind up, most people have multiple symptoms. They have intestinal issues, they have poor skin, they have headaches, they have joint pain, they usually they don't have a lot of energy. All these things usually come in concert together. So if you were to address each one, then you would be taking a pill for each different symptom. You would be looking for, what you could maybe change dietetically for each symptom. And it makes no sense to understand that all the symptoms are caused by the same thing, the obstruction in the tissue, the waste matter, the saturation, and the pathogens that are growing in this tissue. And you correct that, then you've solved the whole problem. And, I could go on and on in terms of how many symptoms most people are walking around with. I mentioned a few, but add to that dental issues and then getting sick all the time with flus and colds, bronchial issues. It's endless, and it always goes hand in hand with your physical symptoms. Are always going to go hand in hand with emotional symptoms and mental symptoms. So, for example, you may have chronic headaches, and then you're going to also be depressed because of that, and you're also going to have trouble focusing because of that. So every level, every field of the being winds up suffering when the cause of a symptom, a physical symptom, is there. It makes it impossible to connect spiritually properly, because if you're not able to focus, if you're in pain physically, and if you're depressed, you're not going to be able to feel that which is the realness around you. You're only going to be able to feel what you're suffering from. So you get really stuck in your suffering, and then you're trying to solve that suffering, whether it's with yummy, tasty things, or with things that will numb you, with alcohol, with pharmaceutical medications, with all of these things. And ultimately, you're never really getting true pleasure. You're never really getting out of the prison sentence. You're never really getting out of the pain, the suffering. You're just chasing the symptoms all day long on each level, and that alone and of itself is exhausting, and it's unsatisfying because you never actually get to the end of it. So all day long, it's okay. So when do I take my next pill? Oh wait, what am I needing right now? Why am I miserable? What can I plan to make myself feel better? Oh, You're just chasing and chasing and chasing, and you never really get to live. And truly living is being in a place of wonderful peace. Peace is not a deadness. It's not boring. True peace is actually an aliveness in the body that's not interfered with by external concerns, worries, stimulation. It's the natural pulse of life where you just feel blissed out, you just feel euphoric, and most people never get to feel that, but that's the natural state of the human being. Because, if you're feeling agitated, you're not going to be so inclined to tune into the other person, understand what's going on. You'll be quick to react. You'll be quick to blame, to go back to your stories. One of the things that when we talk about cleaning up one's life is getting over your stories, understanding your stories, and then moving beyond them. Because your stories are a false identity. Your true identity is, I like to describe it as the behind, the behind, the behind. So what's behind what we think we are? Well, our energetic blueprint, our essence. And what's behind that? Spirit. And what does that comprise? Soul. So if we identify with soul, if we identify with this energetic blueprint, this beautiful field of light, then we're able to freely give, freely take things in, have a genuinely open mind, and be non-judgmental. If we're seeing everything through the lens of the identity that we put together based on our stories and our gripes and our shame and our all the things that we've come to believe ourselves to be based on how we were raised and the things that we've taken on, we're basically judging everything we see based on that lens. And it's crippling. It's the opposite of freedom. So we need to drop, to clean those stories, to understand them. They have a place. They affected us, and they affected our field. But they're not meant to do that forever. They're not meant to cripple us forever. They're meant to act as opportunities to learn how to grow our soul. And then when we release them, we are able to be in that state of bliss, in peace, and not think that, oh, well, I'm not doing anything right now, and then equating boredom with peace, and that's not the same thing. We should be seeking out peace more than anything, because only in that state of peace can we get to our true essence, and in our true essence, we get super inspired. And when we're super inspired, we become incredibly creative. And when we're feeling creative, we're in that space, that childlike space, where nothing worries us, nothing concerns us. We don't want anything. We're so overjoyed and satisfied by just being, because we're that beingness is maybe you're painting, maybe you're singing, maybe you're writing a song, maybe you're playing your instrument, maybe you're coming up with new recipes, maybe you're just connecting. But it's fulfilling. And when we're fulfilled naturally from our essence and from that state of being that's connected with life, then we're not looking outside of ourselves for satisfaction, stimulation, pleasures. Our being is our sustenance. And why is that hugely liberating? It's hugely liberating. Why is it hugely liberating? Because we're not worried about how we're going to use our energy to create resources that we'll only wind up using to spend on things that we shouldn't have to take in to begin with, that will only undermine us, will only weaken us. So it frees us up to do the things we truly want to do with our time, rather than be a slave to it. Our addictions and to our fears of not having certain things that other people, sort of we go around thinking that we should have, simply because we're so addicted to them.